Welcome back to Reality Armchair and to the currently worst season of Survivor of this era. We are on episode 8 of season 48. Up on the wall, we have Damn by Kendrick Lamar, Clancy by 21 Pilots, and the White Blood Cells by the White Stripes, and American Idiot by Green Day, which is actually the second vinyl I ever bought. So it's one of my oldest ones in my collection. I got that one in Hybrid Theory at the same day.
You forget to say what color we're basing our
We
choices
are doing red for Rage for this episode because
we're both very upset.
I think this might be my least favorite episode I've maybe ever seen a Survivor ever.
I might agree. Yeah.
So just a couple things to get out of the way. We are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts if you want to listen over there. If you're already listening over there, then we're also on YouTube. Everything is Pink Ember Media. Our ats on Instagram and TikTok, Pink Ember Media. We're currently covering the entirety of this season, unfortunately. So we will be here next week to cover episode 9.
Yeah.
We're drinking. I'm drinking orange juice and Dos Hombres, which is a Mezcal, and Ariel is drinking Mark Wahlberg's tequila and orange juice. I forget what it's called. I'll put it up on screen. And then we'll probably rush through like the first half of this episode because it is an hour and a half. I think.
I don't really even know why. Why was it an hour?
It was an hour and a half, and the challenge was pretty much right away. So a lot of it was talking, a lot of bullshit actually.
It was fairly quick, yeah.
So we're kind of gonna skip past mostly the challenge. It wasn't that really eventful, in my opinion. I don't think there was much to know of the first at least the first quarter of the episode.
I did take notes, so do you want to let me go over
my notes? I mean, we can go over the notes, but like I said, I'm personally, like, my thoughts are going to probably breeze past it, but...
They all come back, and I think I heard somebody say that there's 10 of them left. I want to say it was Mitch. Like, 1 out of the 10 of us is going to win $1 million.
Yeah, he said 1 of the 10 of us is going to win $1 million.
And then, I think even the next morning, I didn't write much, but... The next morning, Shaheen is talking about how he thinks he can trust Camilla, and that David wants to add Mary into their alliance.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Completely out of nowhere.
He just says David seems really close to Mary. He wants to add her. And I think that was after, like, now Mary is officially by herself, so now she's, like, with David. And that became very obvious, like, throughout this episode, that yes, that was established somewhere that we did not see before this episode. Eva asks, or I guess they're sitting on the beach. This is part of like the bullshit talking. Eva asks the group, like, what's the largest animal you can take with your bare hands? And then they all talk about that.
Someone said a small black bear. I forgot who it was.
Was that Joe?
I think it might have been Joe, or it was either Joe or David,
wasn't
obviously.
Really listening too well.
Someone said a small black bear, and I was like stopped in my tracks. I was like, there's absolutely no way that anyone would ever come to the conclusion that they could fight a small black bear. But
I think it was Kyle that said a hyena.
Yeah, so you get a headlock.
Mary was like, maybe he would bite off your wart.
Yeah.
It's just funny to me that they will not let him live that down.
They shouldn't either.
And then Chrissy walks up with tree mail, and it tells them to divide into 2s. And then there's like a shuffle of like, how are we going to do this? And Shaheen actually offers up Camilla's name of who he wants to be partnered with.
Well, it seemed like unedited. It could have been like 15 to 30 seconds where nobody was saying anything. I think the only thing that was said before Shaheen picked Camilla was, well, we either got to choose whether it's random or it's selected. And then that's when Shaheen was like, you know what, I'm just going to pick Camilla. Which ends up being
a huge point in the game.
The downfall to Camilla's gameplay.
You don't really know like how big of a choice that is when it happens. But so Shaheen chooses Camilla, David chooses Mary, Kyle chooses Chrissy, and then Joe and Eva.
I think they partnered up before Chrissy and
No, I wrote it in order.
Oh, you did?
And then Mitch and Star.
Mitch and Star were just basically like, we're the last two.
The last two.
Yeah.
So they ended up together. Eva reveals that Chrissy said she wants Shaheen to go in the last episode. So she's like going around to multiple people telling them like Chrissy is somebody to watch out for. She wants Shaheen gone. And then Mitch is trying to convince the last 5 of Siva that they should come back together and start voting for the strong men, strong 5, and literally tells David, like in that group, I think it was it all 5 of them standing right there that he said that to? It was, I think actually Chrissy wasn't there. It was David, Mitch, Camilla, and Kyle.
Yeah, I think you're right.
The 4 of them were standing there, and Mitch is like, we got to band together and vote for one of the strong 5, who David is one of those, and probably kind of the head of it at this point.
And I don't think he said who he wanted. He just said one of the big guys, and it's like, bro, you're talking to the biggest guy, literally the biggest guy on the island.
So that was really dumb.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, once David kind of gets rid of his other threats that he has in his eyes, he's obviously going to turn to Mitch, because he knows that Mitch is after the strong guys.
Yeah. But both Camilla and Kyle kind of reveal that they're like somewhat open to that. Like Kyle was like, I'm listening to you, and Camilla was like, yeah, this would be the time to do something, or we have the numbers now.
Yeah. When they really
which I thought that was dumb for her to say, both of them to say in front of David. Like, the biggest thing would be for Camilla and Kyle to pull Mitch aside at some point and say, like, yes, like, let's work together to get something going here.
That's my issue with this season, is at least with Mitch and Chrissy, like, I just feel like
they did not use them.
They're the stragglers and they're not being talked to, and if they are, then they're not showing it, which I don't think
they were talked to.
I don't know what's worse, is if the editor's not showing that they're not being talked to, or the people not talking to them. And I just feel like Camilla and Kyle are smart enough to like talk to the stragglers, especially if the big guys aren't. I just feel like there's no reason why no one is talking to them.
Yeah.
And they're not even like upset about it. Like, Mitch is not really being like, hey, no one's talking to me, let me go actually talk to some people.
I think that they are being talked to, because obviously he ended up voting for Chrissy. So
yeah, which is like, and again, it's annoying. It's annoying because they're either not showing it or because it's not happening. It's both bad.
Left to assume that Camilla went to Mitch and said, like, we have to vote Chrissy. But anyways, then it shows the immunity and reward challenge, and Jeff actually puts Shaheen on the spot, like, why did you pick Camilla?
And he does not have an answer.
He gave the answer that Camilla gave him the eyes, like, made eye contact with him, which we know from his interview that wasn't the reason why. Like, I think it's because he was trying to build trust with her and he wanted to choose her.
Yeah.
But obviously he's not going to reveal that. So it was kind of like dumb of Jeff to put him on blast like that, like, which also led to, hey, what's this going on with Shaheen and Camilla?
Exactly. And my something I haven't really like thought about until right now, it's like, it's very established from the jump that Eva and Joe are a thing. Like, they're a pairing, they're a duo, they're their number ones. David now wants a number one, so he's picked Mary. Mm-hmm. And now that Shaheen wants a number one, now it's a problem. Yeah. Now Shaheen can't have a number one. Only David and Joe are allowed to have number ones.
But Shaheen wasn't even trying to say, like, Camilla's going to be my number one.
Yeah, he was my number saying, one pick, like, for this challenge.
I think he was just trying to establish trust with Camilla because he thought he could, because he could see that she was a good person to bring in.
Which just painted a target on her back, which is something she didn't.
Crazy.
Something she didn't even ask for.
Yeah. So for this reward challenge, the final 4 will get tacos. And so then they do the first part of the challenge, because it's a 3-part challenge. Kyle and Chrissy, Mary and David, Joe and Eva are the ones to move on. And then David and Mary and Joe and Eva are the ones to move on to the individual immunity. And they have to hold on to a pole. And Jeff says that they've made it like the hardest they've ever made it, because this is a challenge that has been used a lot, and the holds are like not even there, basically. So it's like the hardest. And Joe and David are actually the first ones out. Joe
Pretty
was first
quick.
out. David was out pretty quick after that. And then it was a Mary and Eva showdown.
And they weren't even using like the holes. They were just kind of squeezing the
they
pole.
just were squeezing the and it looked like Eva was about to give up when Mary gave it to Eva.
Yeah. I don't think Mary was even looking at Eva, so she just figured that she was out because she was so far ahead.
Eva's face like showed, man, I was about to like give up.
Yeah.
It was my take on it, but and then Shaheen, Camilla, Mitch, and Star had to leave for a journey. And they had to do this like ball thing where they would do like, you would pick up 1 or 2 balls and there were red ones amongst them, and whoever ended up with 3 red balls first lost their vote. And so Mitch and Camilla were kind of working together to get Star to lose her vote. So she ended up,
which ultimately did not matter. Like,
no,
I don't think really any of them could have lost their vote, and the outcome of this
wouldn't have changed.
Tribe wouldn't have changed at all.
But Camilla was thinking that she could walk back into camp having numbers to make a move. Yeah. I think mostly to get Shaheen out, but because Kyle and Camilla really thought that they were teeing up Shaheen.
Which at this point, I mean, I'm kind of jumping ahead, but I feel like their best move going forward is to work with Shaheen.
It looked like that's what was going to happen. It looks like there should be talks about David going home because
he is bugging.
He is really bugging. He is acting like fucking Kingpin. Tarzan in camp. Like he is like the man. I'm just super over him. But while they're eating tacos, the people who win, Eva finds a scroll. And even before she read the scroll, I noticed that they all had place cards for where they would sit. And so Eva found her scroll in her chips. So literally Survivor producers giving Eva an advantage. Are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me? I didn't look. Did everyone else have chips, or
yes,
everyone else had chips?
Yes, they all had place cards.
No, but I'm saying, did everyone have like a bowl of chips to themselves? I'm pretty
sure. Then I at least saw chips in front of Mary.
Okay, then that's wild. I thought maybe like she grabbed the chips from the middle and she was like, "Oh, let me just grab the chips. No one else wants them." No. Oh, I didn't know that. That's actually wild.
It is wild. And I'm pretty sure because then when we hear Eva read her scroll, it says, "Because of your effort in today's immunity challenge," implying like because you won the immunity challenge, you are now getting this secret.
If that is the case,
that is bullshit.
That is crazy, because why would you give an advantage to somebody who already has an advantage?
Yeah, I'm not about that.
That is actually pretty wild if that is the case. I'm wondering if Jeff will discuss that on the podcast.
I'm curious. There's no way that he won't, because they have not been giving out enough advantages this season.
I mean, because they've had this is probably the 4th at least like private secluded feast that they've had for a reward, and that not any of them except for this one have they had a reward.
Yeah.
And like almost every season there's at least like 2. And I mean, there could be potentially another one, but like I just feel like they've been really scarce on.
They've been too scarce with the advantages,
and no one's looking anymore.
Which is why we are ending up with a fucking strong 5 alliance, because these small guys did not get a chance to get them out because fucking Vula was losing over and over and over again. So none of these strong people were able to be voted out. And then now they're not getting advantages as the small players. So they're not getting the chance to band together and make moves against the big people.
Yeah, I was thinking towards the end of this episode, I was just like so over it. I was like starting to like think about like the trace of all this. And it really comes down to the producers forming these teams. They put Joe, Eva, and Shaheen, and even Thomas on the same fucking tribe. Like, that is a crazy fucking tribe to have. Like, that is a stacked team, and they're never going to lose.
Yeah, and then you think even Siva.
Yeah, you got Cedric, who's arguably the worst person who's ever... Oh, yeah, Bula. Well, Vula has Cedric, arguably one of the worst Survivor players as long as physically goes, and
Yeah.
honestly, social game too.
And I would argue that they knew that he was going to be bad at them.
Exactly.
Because Jeff, on the last episode, says that in his notes, he wrote that Cedric was going to have a hard time.
Yeah, Cedric is horrible at challenges. And then they had two scrawny women, Mary, who's tiny and very scrawny, and then they had a blonde woman who was also very scrawny and not very good.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw Say, who was like not very good either. They had
And
one
Justin, and was his name
Justin,
the pizza guy,
the fucking super
Mhm.
lanky guy who was doing
Mhm.
nothing. And they had
They
one
definitely set them up. Yep.
one decently strong person, athletic person, and they voted him out the second episode.
Mhm.
Like they were really set up for failure at the jump,
Mhm.
and especially when they got rid of, I can't remember his name. It started with a K. It was like Caleb or something. It was, I remember it was Kyle, and because they had that reward,
Yeah.
and I forgot it was with a K, but he was like decently fit, strong,
Yeah, that's
and he was
true.
actually winning that challenge.
Well, they were doing their part, getting the strong people out.
And yeah, they fucking got rid of that guy, and then they immediately like plummeted every single challenge. And then even if you look at Siva, like pretty decent team. They had David, who's like a beast. Mitch also pretty physically fit. I think their weakest member was Chrissy, but still, it was way better than whatever the fuck Bula had.
Yeah.
So it really just comes down to like who these producers are putting on each team, and it happened last season as well, and it happened the season before. It's happened like almost every season. They set up one tribe to fail.
Yeah, I feel like this season is the most obvious, at least in the new era,
with like meddling
on producers' parts, and I am getting angry about it because Jeff is so adamant that they are not producing the show. Like they're not like setting these things
like
up,
trying
like,
to make moments
outside
or whatever
of gameplay.
Yeah.
Like I am gonna disagree at this point. Like there's too much happening.
It feels pretty manufactured.
It is super manufactured, and I'm not about that. I'm not about it. So that pissed me off to see Eva get a fucking scroll after all of that. I just was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Honestly, anyone there getting the scroll would have pissed me off either way, except for maybe Kyle. Actually,
I would have been fine with Mary before all that stuff came out, because then it's revealed that David wants to get Camilla out, and it's because Mary is now his number one, and Mary is going to say, this is the one time I'm going to put my hand up and say I have a preference, and it has to be Camilla. Like, what? Where is this coming from? Like,
and it was, I think her reasoning was Shaheen.
Because of Shaheen. They think that Shaheen and Camilla are starting to work together, and that Camilla, well, actually, where it came in was that David said he thinks that Shaheen has an idol because Camilla told him he has an idol.
Yeah.
So that actually worked against Camilla right here.
Yeah. Which, again, it comes back to like, why is it fair that Joe and Eva can have a partnership? Why is it fair that David and Mary can have a partnership?
Yeah,
but
and they're not looked at.
Kyle wants to like not even like solidify his partnership with Camilla, but like throw it out there and see if it sticks, and automatically like, no, we got to get rid of her.
Right.
And it's like coming from this guy's number one who just became her number one. Just
became a member of their alliance.
Yeah, like,
because it is a strong 5.
And
now it's a strong 6.
Yeah, who I was gonna say, they even said, I think Kyle was talking to somebody and he was like, oh, it's not a strong 5 anymore. David's trying to make it a strong 6 with Mary. And it's like, why are we allowing this?
No, David actually said it himself.
Oh, he said
himself, we're a strong 5. Now we're a strong 6.
Which is crazy.
Anybody else outside of that is just absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Implying like we cannot bring Camilla in because that's just too many people. Yeah. Okay, so why can we bring Mary in? Like, why do you get to choose who number 6 is?
And honestly, if it comes down to that's just the final 6, 1, I'm going to be pissed off. 2, that's really where the season's going to start, because that's when people are actually going to start backstabbing people. There have been no backstabs as far as like major ones, but between this not new alliance, but this big alliance, and that is their whole foundation is like loyalty and honesty, and they're going to get to the final 6 and they're going to eat each other alive. Yeah,
like what do you think is really going to happen there? It really bothers me, this whole David being in charge of this alliance. I hate it.
Yeah, and Ariel mentioned it like during the episode, like they let them get too far.
They did.
It's too late now, really, at this point. I mean, because what we have, I mean, we'll talk about it when we get to the vote. But
there's not much else. I mean, that's when everybody comes back to the island or the beach and they start talking about everything. So, I mean, that's essentially it, because we don't see Eva even try to go for the secret that was revealed in the scroll. And then it's just them talking back at the beach, and actually Joe comes back and immediately tells Kyle that David and Mary are gunning for Camilla, and he doesn't agree with it, and then Kyle like starts freaking out.
oh, was Kyle not at that lunch? Oh, that's right. So yeah, anyone at that lunch getting that scroll would have pissed me off, honestly.
It was Mary and David,
Eva and Joe.
Yeah,
that would have been. I think anyone getting that would have been really annoying, which is funny because your number one prediction, at least what you wanted, was Joe and Eva at the final, and I feel like your perception of Eva is kind of flipped.
Oh, absolutely. As soon as she said that she doesn't make friends with women, like, nah.
I didn't like that either, but I was honestly willing to like push past it because I mean it's like whatever. It's no sweat off my back. But as soon as like it gets to the point, I mean, it really shows when, well, again, we'll get to it, when Chrissy is like speaking her shit, and like they cut to the faces of the three strong people, which is
Eva, Joe, and David.
Yeah, and they have disgust on their face.
Yeah, they do.
And it's like, you guys are such all assholes. I hate all of you.
You guys are being real assholes.
I think out of the three, I like Joe the most, but even then, he's spineless.
Joe has moments where I'm like, no,
They all definitely have moments, and David's always in that moment. But Joe has moments where I'm like, all right, I can see, because he didn't really want to. He wasn't on board with the Camilla vote, but he was like, well, they're gunning for it, so I don't really want to like push back on it. And it's like, bro, you have a say. Like, you have a spine on your back. Like, you don't have to just fucking fold.
Well, what ends up happening is that Chrissy goes home. So he did put his foot down and say, no, we're getting rid of Chrissy.
Well, I think it's because of what Chrissy said.
I doubt it.
You think so? Well, then that's another instance of Survivor not showing this conversation that needs to be shown for the fucking show, because like it doesn't matter if it spoils the jury or what happens, like, or the vote for the tribal. Like, we need to see all the context. So you can't just fucking leave us in the blind and then do this other vote, because it really seemed like just the way Chrissy was speaking that the reason why she went home is because she was talking her shit. She was spitting.
That's Chrissy's perception.
I mean, that's our fucking perception, because that's what they showed us.
I think that they want our perception to be the same as the person going home,
which is bullshit.
It is.
I'm not on the show.
I don't agree with it.
I'm not on the show. I should see what's happening.
I should see what's happening. I should see,
because we don't even see Mitch being talked to by anyone, really. I think he talked to Star a little bit, and Star doesn't even have a vote.
Yeah.
So like there was no point to that conversation.
There was no actual conversation there.
And fucking Mitch votes for Chrissy, and it's like, bro, that's your number one. Like, so what happened?
That's why I'm left to assume that Camilla had to have told Mitch that the vote was going to be Chrissy.
Which again,
maybe she didn't tell him like the gameplay behind it, because I feel like she would have had to say, like, they're voting me out, so vote Chrissy. And then he would have been like, well, why?
Well, yeah, because his number one is Chrissy.
Yeah.
At least after Charity went home.
Yeah. I mean, Mitch never like stated that.
Yeah, but
I think he's kind of blown with the wind at this point. He wanted Siva, but Siva was obviously not going to happen. And so I think that he was open to voting for Chrissy because it wasn't him. Which
again is, he's just thinking short term.
Exactly. I mean, at this all point, of them thought short term
at this
for
point,
too long.
Well, let's think about it. So what there's the 6, which is Joe, Eva, Mary, Shaheen, and Kyle.
And the other thing was that Shaheen was not being included in any of these alliance.
Yeah, because it's his partner.
Yeah, they were thinking that he would then go and tell Camilla. And it was actually Joe who told Shaheen that they were going for Camilla. And Kyle was like running around like a chicken with his head cut off.
Kyle was blowing up his game low key.
He was
like
very close,
pretty
to
tweaking.
Like, I'm in love with Camilla. You can't vote her out.
Yeah, I think he was doing a little too much.
Obviously, doing a little too much. But it's his number one. It's who he trusts the most.
And I feel like if I were in his situation, if Camilla goes home, my game is over. That's how I would look
I
at
think
it.
that's how he's looking at it.
That's how
So
I
I
would.
think that's how he felt, and that was showing for sure.
So let's look at it. That's the main six, at least in this alliance. Who else is left? It's Star,
Star, Mitch. It was Chrissy, but now she's gone. Camilla. Now, yeah, that's it.
That's three. They have the
That's
votes.
it.
That's it's over. Game. Let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
Nothing to do.
I mean,
unless they start turning on each other, which I think the only people willing to turn is maybe David and definitely Kyle.
well, after this episode, I think that it was revealed that Kyle is probably not a number anymore.
Yeah,
and Shaheen is also not a super great number either.
They showed a clip where it was David, and he's like, I think they're an alliance, or I think
they're working together.
And he's obviously talking about Kyle and Camilla.
Probably.
But yeah, I feel like at this point, their only way to go forward is to work with Shaheen, unfortunately, and that would honestly.
So it should be Camilla, Kyle, Mitch, Star. Even though I don't think Star could be a number.
Star's voting with Eva.
I think Star is going to vote for Eva or with Eva. So they're fucked.
They literally they're at. Oh my god,
they're fucked.
It's gonna be David
unless they can get Joe on board with voting out David.
Which I don't see happening.
I think that he's the only one out of them that could do it.
Yeah, because he can persuade Eva.
No, I think that he can see that David was like too adamant about getting Camilla out. He did not like that. And then there is a moment in the next episode where they showed Joe talking about David's demeanor changing.
Yeah, because he thinks he's hot shit.
He does. And then there's also a moment where Shaheen's like, "Welcome to the game, David."
Yeah, honestly.
Which is what Chrissy was talking about. Like, let's fucking play the game.
Yeah, this whole tribal Chrissy she was spitting.
It was like 95% Chrissy talking. And I completely agree with what she was saying.
Everything she was saying was just completely factual. Mm-hmm. She was saying, you know what? Like, why are we allowing these big guys just run the final? Like, why are we just letting this happen? Why are we just sitting back and letting it happen? It's like, yes, Chrissy, why are we letting this happen?
Why haven't you guys banded together to get one of them out?
And then David's excuse is like, well, there's always cliques, there's always the girl groups, or there's always the...
No, he said, we're not banding together by gender. We're not banding together by gameplay. We're banding together because we're strong. So now you have a problem with it?
Yeah. And then she says, well, it's because I'm on this season. I'm not on the other seasons. I'm on this season.
Yeah.
And it's affecting my game right now.
And all that I could hear when David was talking like that was, well, I'm a man and I have rights too.
Yeah, it did feel very like male rights. And just like...
That's really all that I heard.
And just like... I don't know. I guess I'm not as well versed within the Survivor series, but I just feel like there has been, I will agree that there has been pushback on strong players, and like they are targeted, and it's like, yeah, it's because then we get to this season where it's just fucking dog shit.
This is why you guys are voted out, because you don't have gameplay. You're just strong. You don't have gameplay. If you're strong and have gameplay, of course you're being voted out.
Since it's been individual, it's been Kyle won, David and Joe won, and then Eva won, which is 4 people from that fucking alliance. So yeah, if I'm Chrissy, I'm like, well, I'm never winning an immunity challenge, so I'm never going to be safe. So why am I just going to like hand these fuckers the win?
Mm-hmm. Something that Camilla said I really liked was that a lot of you are not doing well for jury management.
That is, yeah, she said that. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe she said that. But it's true.
Another thing that she said was that David is on the wrong show. He should have called up Joe and Eva and asked them to go on the Olympics together, because all they want to do is do the challenges and not play the fucking game. We're on Survivor, and and there was a quote by Eva saying that she didn't like Chrissy because she wants to play Survivor, and Survivor is about backstabbing and whatever. And it's like, yes, Eva, have you watched Survivor? Like, we as an audience do not want to see this bullshit that you guys are doing right now.
Yeah, and it's honestly, it's triggering me because I'm getting hints of like Johnny Bananas on Challenge, where it's just like this fucking this workhorse of a man, just like convincing all these lesser people that don't really have smart gameplay to just vote with him. And I mean, it's not really
It's
the same,
super
but
different, but I think that we just hate Johnny Bananas because he's won too many times. And the thing about the challenge is that they bring back people for like all the seasons.
yeah,
So
there's
they
very
have the
little.
chance for like Johnny Bananas to do shit like that. And yes, he enrages me every time I see him play a game. And all these little rookies let him get too far. And this is exactly that's where it's the same. They're letting
Yeah,
these,
it just feels that's what it reminds me of, because like you see this guy, he's winning, he's doing really well. Politically, he's doing all right, but he's obviously swaying all of you to get him to the final.
Mm-hmm.
He's literally letting you guys get him to the final because now he's in a perfect position. He has the majority vote. He's capable of winning the challenge,
Mm-hmm.
and he's just going to coast to final 3. And if he wins, that's it. I'm never watching the show again. If David wins this show,
But it will be completely different next season. Like,
I don't care. I would be so upset.
I will be very upset.
We'll obviously cover the next season, but like, if he wins this season, I will be so.
This will go down as the worst season in my memory.
It already is the worst season of mine.
There have been a lot of winners that I haven't really agreed with, but at least I'm like not at a point where I hated them. Whereas I hate David. I hate you.
Yeah, I really hate David.
I'm not a fan of how you're playing this game. I'm not a fan of how Eva's playing this game. Joe at least has some ideas of playing this game. There were a few things that he said that it was like, all right, is gameplay in you? Like, I think maybe it could be brought out. But Eva and David, I think, are actually more aligned than they realize. I think that Joe and Eva have a great bond, so they're number ones. But I think that David and Eva have a stronger view of the game that is the same.
Like a stronger perception of how they want to run this game, and
which is honest and loyal.
And it's like
bullshit.
It just makes the viewers like have to wait until we get to the final 6 people for them to start fucking playing the game, because right now all they're doing is picking off the people
the easy
that
votes.
aren't in the alliance. And like normally when we get to this point where it's like, oh, they're the main alliance and they're the ones that are running the game. Usually at this point, somebody has flipped. Kyle is like trying to flip, but he hasn't done it yet. And I think it's because he's the lesser of the duo between him and
now
Camilla.
He is being majorly questioned by the head, David.
Yeah.
Chrissy was wrong. Joe is not the head.
No, yeah.
David is the head.
Joe is not even. He's an ass. He's like not even fucking close to the head. But honestly, it was really looking grim for Camilla. And had Camilla been voted out, man, I don't know how I would have been able to truck through this season, because that would have been the nail in the coffin for the season. I think it kind of already is.
Yeah.
I think it's
at least Camilla and Kyle are still in the game.
I think this next vote or this next episode, it's going to be either Camilla or Shaheen. I think this is what it's looking like. If
I'm really hoping that there's some miracle that happens where
they get David out.
They can get David or Mary.
Yeah.
I think that Mary could be the side stab so that David is brought down
humbled a little bit. Yeah, I would, if I were David or if I were Joe, I'd be like, yo, I think we gotta like take him down a notch, and hitting his alliance would be the best. I mean, obviously hitting him directly would be the best option, but
I mean, it should have been super obvious after that David was strengthened by having Mary by his side. Yeah, saying the same thing.
Which, because
they literally like were going around camp like, no, it's gonna be Camilla. It's gonna be Camilla.
Yeah,
it's gonna be Camilla.
And I'm curious, like, what's gonna happen when it gets to 6? Like, what is the next plan? Like, who are they gonna vote for?
Mary.
Like, I guess Mary, but I don't even think David would be down for Mary.
I actually think at this point it would be Kyle, because he's on the bottom.
Because I think David would be like, well, Mary's my number 1, and Joe, your number 1 is Eva, so we got to go for Kyle.
Yeah.
Which again, like, how is it fair that two of the guys in the alliance have a number 1 outside of the alliance, but these other two like Shaheen and Kyle aren't allowed to have number ones.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just bullshit.
Yeah, I think it would go Kyle, Shaheen, or Shaheen, Kyle.
If it got to that 6, it would be Shaheen or Kyle first, and then whichever one it would be the next one. So if Kyle got out, it would be Shaheen,
and then it would just depend on who wins.
And then
immunity.
it would be who wins immunity, and then it would be like whose number one is going to go first. Is it going to be David's number one, or is it going to be Kyle or Joe's number one? And like I don't want to watch that game.
I don't want to watch it either.
And
I want to see them fucking play the game. I'm super over it. Like that's why Survivor fans are like such big fans, because this is a game that makes you think, and it's like a chess game. Like there are so many moving parts that this season has really like screwed over the audience in that way. Like they're not showing us enough of these conversations that are happening to know of any chess moves being played. So there's not enough advantages. There's not any conversations that we're seeing that would make us have to think like, well, what could happen here? And it just is not panning out well. And I think it's also that the cast is making the easy votes.
Yeah, like I think Mitch was just too late. Like, bro, why are you trying to make?
Why are we doing this now?
Yeah,
like you should have done it as soon as the merge happened.
Yeah, as soon as merge happened, they were like, all right, guys, let's start getting out Charity, and let's start getting out Say and Cedric. And it's like, guys, what are we fucking doing? Like there's a alliance that is like very well known. Like it's not a secret that these guys are having their fucking meetups, and they're basically orchestrating who's gonna go home. So why are we letting it happen? Why are we voting Say? Why are we voting Charity? Why are we voting Cedric?
You know what? Kyle and Camilla made the wrong move by getting Thomas out. They should have gotten Shaheen out. Actually, they should have gotten Joe out.
Yeah, I was gonna say David wasn't on there, but yeah, I think
they made the wrong move.
I was honestly just thinking about that too. I was like, this game would be so much better if
With
Thomas was in the game.
Yeah.
Thomas would not let this slide.
No, he wouldn't.
He would not let it slide for a second.
What the fuck are we doing, guys?
Yeah.
Like, no. So, yeah, they made the wrong move. They could have gotten Shaheen or Joe out, and this would have been totally different.
Yeah, and they got, unfortunately, the guy who could have.
They got the guy out that would have worked with them.
Yeah. None of them are working with them. I mean, maybe Shaheen might. We don't know. I think for Shaheen's.
How do you think that would have gone had Thomas stayed? Like, how do you think?
I think the show would be so much more enjoyable.
Let's say that they voted Shaheen out.
Yeah.
So it was Joe and Thomas left, and then the merge happened. Well, who was voted out before the merge? Bianca, yeah. So his number one was gone. Had Bianca still been the one voted out before the merge?
Yeah.
And so it would have been Joe, Thomas, Eva,
Kyle,
David. How close were David and Thomas didn't even know each other?
No, they're not. Yeah, no. I mean, yeah, that alliance might not even
That alliance wouldn't have even worked. I think that Thomas would have then turned to Kyle and Camilla, seeing that they worked.
The better game players.
Yeah, I think that he would have flipped.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that is where they fucked up. I just think it's too late now. And
so as mad as I feel about like them being the last game playing members, like they actually started all of this.
Pretty much. And man, I am now fucking 0-2 with my predictions. Chrissy's gone. My prediction was Chrissy was gonna be the GOAT. Had I known that Chrissy was gonna talk her shit and like not stand up for this bullshit or like not put up with it, I would have not put my bet on her. But and had I known that this was going to be the direction of the season, I obviously wouldn't have picked her because they're not trying to bring up.
Do you want to make a new prediction right now?
My new prediction is Dave is he's making it a 3. I really don't think that they're gonna have the strategic
ability.
I don't think Joe is smart enough to see that David needs to be out. I don't think that he's not playing.
I don't know that he's not smart enough. I think that he is too loyal.
I don't even think it's loyalty. I think it's
I think
genuine.
it's
I think it's
loyalty.
legit stupidity.
No, because he agreed that Camilla should not be the
Yeah,
vote.
but if he was smart enough, he would have been like, all right, that's obviously not the vote.
That's usually where it would have been like, okay, so do we get David out? Do we get Mary out?
That's what I'm saying. Or like even like uh I just don't I don't think that he is playing. I think he's not playing a
I
very
agree.
smart game.
I agree.
I think him and Eva are just so focused, tunnel visioned on this like course 5 and like getting to the final 5 and like
Except that, do they actually see it as 5 or do they see it as 3?
I think
I think
ultimately
they ultimately see it as 3.
yeah,
David, Joe, and Eva.
I think so because I think when it gets to the final 6, it's they're going to eat each other up until they get to the final 3 and that's what they want.
Mm-hmm.
I think David and Joe are secretly their number ones and they're the ones that want to get to the final 2 because they're the strongest.
Do you think that Joe and David are number ones?
I think they both want each other at the end. I think obviously David wants Eva
So
at the end too.
now, like with Mary, what do you think David is thinking about Mary now?
I think he's seen her
He'd
more
probably
as a number
sacrifice her
one.
at some point.
Yeah, I don't think he would have much loyalty to her. I would say my final prediction, which I don't think is like, a hot take or anything. I think obviously one of the 3 people at the final 3 is going to be either Joe, Eva, or David. I think statistically, with how many people are left, there's 9 people now. Obviously, one of them is going to be there, unless somehow this game gets interesting for once
Well,
and they get rid of all 3 of them, which I
I
don't
think it's
see
a good
happening.
chance that it's Eva because currently she has 2 advantages.
She has 2. She
We
has
don't
an
know what
idol.
her second advantage is, but
She has an idol and potentially either another idol or a block a vote or something like that.
I would be fucking pissed if it's an idol, which is what Rachel was. She wasn't given. She got that. Like, I was actually going to bring that up. Like, some people might argue that Rachel was given a scroll, but she wasn't. She wasn't given a scroll. She auctioned for the food item, and the food was put in the fries.
Oh,
So
that's right.
she happened to get that.
The right one.
Yeah. And it just happened that it was the right person to get it who needed it. And then that ended up being an idol. But she also had to get it in front of everybody. So she had to get that with nobody seeing her so that it actually came into play the right way. And she did everything she could with that.
Which Eva has not told David about her advantage yet, which is pretty interesting. Oh yeah, Eva has not told Joe yet.
Not
which
yet.
Is pretty interesting. I
but
do
she
think
hasn't found it.
I think she will tell him, but obviously, in my head, I was like, oh, the first thing she's gonna do is tell Joe, but she didn't, which is I thought was interesting.
She just was saying that she's
not
doesn't like
even
that everybody knows about her idol.
But it's her number one.
Yeah, I think that she's gonna tell.
I do
Joe.
think that she's gonna tell him. I just thought it was interesting that she didn't tell him right away.
Because if that was didn't show us that,
if that was my number one, if they didn't, if that happened and they didn't show us, I'm gonna be personally upset with Jeff, like with letting this slide.
I mean, I'm just mad at the producers and editors right now.
I think the producers are setting it up by one, forming these tribes and obviously making a weak tribe. And they're fucking casting these people. Like, I don't want to see Justin casted. I don't want to see a fucking Bianca casted. I don't want to see a David casted. Why are we casting these people?
Yeah.
This is my least favorite cast, I think, of all time.
I think this is my least favorite cast in a long time. I think they focus too much on
the moments
that they've
the sob stories
created. Yeah, I think they've definitely focused too much on that.
Yeah, I don't see Eva as a player. I see her.
She's not playing.
I see her as a like challenge threat autistic person. Yeah. That's really what it is. Like her story is that she has autism and that she is one of the boys and that she's strong. That's literally her whole story. Mm-hmm. And that's no like shade to her. It's just like
that's all you got, girl. That's all you have to bring to the show.
That's all they've shown. Like, and then you look at David. All he has is that he's a fucking stuntman, milkman. Like he just loves milk. I looked at his Instagram today, and he was just bragging about his challenge win last episode. And there's hashtags were milk, none of that 2% crap, and chocolate milk, and like grip strength, and grip, and physique. Those are the hashtags that he was posting. Like that's all he is. He's the milkman. He's the strong man. He's the stunt man. That's all he is.
I'd also like to know that there's no picture of his ex-girlfriend on there. So he did not come home with $1 million and say, "Look, let's get married."
Let's hope not. That would be so crazy if you look at his profile. It's like he's wearing like a fucking crazy suit, and he's like they show him at the altar.
Well,
like,
yeah, I think
married.
that would have been the biggest reveal. Is like he's
Yeah.
now married, and
Yeah, he's like married. He's on a yacht or something like that. He has like kids already. I don't think I have more to say. I think we've made
that's about it.
We've made it pretty clear that we're very like over this season.
I am curious like how other people are feeling about this season. Like I haven't really looked much at what other people are saying. Just listen to the podcast, and like obviously we have our thoughts, which I feel like a lot of the times are not what a lot of people are thinking.
No. You know what's crazy? Is I feel like every time we watch a show that's really popular, we're always in the minority. Like we watched Stranger Things season 4. Every fucking person I talked to about that season loved that season. We were the only people on this planet that did not like the season or liked Eddie.
Yeah, you know what? It's been so long that I don't even hardly remember that season.
I just remember not liking it, and I remember thinking it was dumb.
And everybody else really liked it.
And everyone was like, "It's the best season."
Yeah.
Oh my god, this character is so great. And it's like, bro, he killed himself for no reason.
Well, and then I would say the challenge. There was the last season where Rachel ended up winning.
Oh my god.
And I feel like a lot of people were happy for her.
They were like, oh my god, so empowering. This old lady finally won for the first time since they had like group wins when it was like 60 people winning one fucking challenge. When she was like one of
Johnny's angels. And it was like, fuck you.
I'd rather put a gun in my mouth and call myself Johnny's angel. Honestly.
Or touch his toes with mine.
Feet fucking him. Like, no. But I just feel like we're always in the minority when it comes to like television and just like our thoughts, because I don't know. I don't know what it is. I just feel like.
Well, then I guess we have hot takes. So
this is hot takes. I just feel like some people are just so fucking dumb. I don't know. I just feel like this show specifically with Survivor, it's like really showing me that I'm just not like the target audience, I guess. Like I'm not the person that wants to see, like these episodes where it's so heavily, the themes are about like Eva's struggles or whatever. Or,
I don't know. I feel like a lot of the true fans of Survivor are probably not loving this season because there's not enough gameplay.
I would hope so, and I hope
there's not outwitting happening.
Yeah, and I would hope, honestly, I don't know what the reception is, and I don't know how much of this reception is going to affect Jeff. But Jeff seems like a person where if he saw the overwhelming amount of negativity, he'd be like, we got to change it up, guys. We got to do something because they're not liking it.
Yeah, I think so.
But again, I don't know if that's the case right now. I don't know if Jeff is even like looking at other people's opinions or if he's even like.
I think he gets told a lot of opinions.
Maybe, but like, I don't know what the critical reception is, but I just feel like for us at least, it's not good. Like, this is a bad season.
He actually talked about his kids' reception of the moment between Joe and Eva. And he thought that his kids would like be proud of him or something. And I think he said they weren't really like they.
Oh really?
Yeah, I think they didn't say like I'm not proud of you, but I think they didn't have the reaction that he was looking for. Yeah. So maybe those are like his toughest critics, and that's like who. Maybe
they're like, Dad, this show is so fucking boring. I'm tired of watching David.
Yeah. But I think that he has told a lot of opinions as well.
Yeah, I hope so because. I really do trust Jeff as a showrunner and producer, executive producer, like basically the face of the show, literally the face of the show.
He's done a good job up until this point.
Yeah, and I would hope that he would see like the direction that Survivor's going in and he would like be like, we got to change it up. Because I feel like if I were in Jeff's position, I'd be like, guys, why are we producing a show like this where this is who's running it? Like, this is not what Survivor is about. But then I think that
he would try to turn it around and say like, we're not producing it, this is just what happened.
Yeah, this is just what happened, we're just filming it, like this is just how it happened, like this is just a show, this is what happens when you put people on an island,
like we're not manufacturing anything.
Yeah, which
it's not true at this point.
Yeah, I don't know, I think it's very murky waters at this point. I think like
it's lower than other shows manufacturing and like producing, but I think when when you point out, like, no, you guys put these certain people on tribes, so obviously they're gonna fucking lose over and over again. The producers don't choose who goes home, but they are setting it up. And the moment that happened between Joe and Eva, having Eva on this season, and a man like Joe, I feel like
And a guy
that
like
was kind of
Mitch.
manufactured too. So, and a guy like Mitch, like, I don't know, it just feels the most manufactured out of all of the seasons, in my opinion. And I
Yeah.
feel like it's going the wrong way. We also have the finale of the challenge.
We have the finale of the challenge, and my predictions were off from last episode. I think I said I
Adam
thought,
and Steve were gonna blow the
yeah,
competition
and they were
away.
fucking
They're
choking.
not doing good.
Honestly, I think actually number one is Shane and Devon, which is crazy. And seeing Frank cry because of how shitty Sam is
Love
at this
it.
game was hilarious.
You deserve that.
It was so good.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, how did you not see this coming from episode one?
I mean, I said that from the get-go. Like, it's not fair to give somebody
It's really not
a
fair
person that can't compete at all.
Well, it's
physically.
also not fair to take someone's spot. Nani and Turbo deserved to be there, and you guys just swept it under them, or like
Took it away,
pulled the
from
rug
them.
from under them. And for what? So fucking these losers can I don't know. I'm pissed about that.
Well, I think that Frank and Sam's strategy was to get other weak players in the finale so that they would have a better chance.
Yeah, and ironically, they're all beating them. But I guess I'll make my prediction. I think Shane and Devon are gonna win. I think they're in the lead, and they're doing pretty well.
Yeah.
Adam and Steve are choking.
Yeah,
I
think they're either third or fourth, aren't they?
They're like third or fourth. I think they're third because Frank is
Are Frank
fourth.
and Sam fourth?
Yeah, they're fourth.
Yeah.
Because they DQ'd on a couple of them. Also, fucking Nicole and Melissa are in second, which is crazy. They got first on the first checkpoint, and Ariel called it before we even watched the episode that Nicole was going to cheat on her girlfriend with Melissa.
And she's trying to claim that they didn't.
Yeah, she was on Instagram Live saying, "Guys, I don't know what you guys are talking about. That's not what happened."
Yeah, so they set up sheets on their bunk beds to try and hide what they were doing.
Yeah,
and didn't realize there was a fucking camera directly pointing into their
which is weird that there was a camera in there, but yeah.
So we literally saw Melissa take off her pants.
And they started scissoring, which is like crazy.
Did they actually show that?
No, they didn't show them scissor. They showed her removing her underwear, though.
They showed Melissa removing her underwear, and then Nicole was like getting in bed with her. And
yeah, and she was on top of her.
They showed the end where Melissa was putting her pants back on, and it's like, what the fuck do you think happened? Like, obviously you guys did something enough that it crossed boundaries for you to go home and break up with your girlfriend.
And Nicole did say, well, I went home and we broke up because boundaries were crossed. It's like, yeah, you fucking cheated. Like, that's the boundary that was crossed. But also, I'm just surprised that they're doing as well as they're doing. Yeah. But I just think it was funny that I think you literally.
I called it.
You called it.
I said 100% she's going to cheat.
You called it an hour before we watched the episode.
It wasn't even an hour. It was like 10 minutes before. Yeah.
So.
All right, let's
go. Fucking end it.